Hi, pipe smokers. Yeah, this is Paul the Pipe Guy, the Paul Gilson YouTube channel. And I'm Paul Gilson, aka Paul the Pipe Guy, in the outskirts of Rochester, New York, in the United States of America. Yeah, thank the Lord, it's 80 degrees outside. It is 6:49 minutes after the hour, p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in upstate New York. Yes, and it is the 14th of July, 2023. And I know that because my Pipes and Cigars calendar says it is, and so does Miss July. So I have to be careful. So I already started something on fire. But we must clear the palate, yes, of course, with some Busch beer. No, it's not Bud Light. Bud Light's made by Anheuser-Busch, okay? And Busch beer is also made by Anheuser-Busch, but whatever. I like this beer. Cheers. And so actually it is about 10 minutes to midnight in the UK. By the time I upload this video, anybody who's in a pub or at home that's still awake to see this in the UK, it'll be 12:31 a.m. in the morning, and you ought to be, maybe have had a few pints yourself, you know. I certainly haven't. This is like beer number 2 for me. Yeah, and it's not even a pint. It's 3/4 of a pint. Cheers. So we're just having a little smoke together here, yeah. So I'm very thankful for all of the friends that I've made, you know, within the YouTube pipe community, and also, you know, within the music industry. Some of my music that I put on there, upload on YouTube, some of it's terrible. But I just let it ride. I rewatch it the next day. I'm like, I don't know. Some of it's mediocre. Some of it's good. And some of it I think is really good. Truckin' Bob Piper, yeah. Truckin' Bob Piper and Mrs. Truckin' Bob Piper, they actually, it was her 50th birthday 4 days ago, and he asked if I would do a song for him, so I did. And, you know, I did get your email, Truckin' Bob Piper, and I responded back to it. And Mrs. Truckin' Bob Piper, I did get yours, and I appreciate the kind words that you said. I thought that song that I did for you for your birthday, I would consider that one of my mediocre ones, but I practiced it as much as I can. I mean, it was a bit out of my range, and my voice is still healing up, you know, but. So I did it the first time, and then I texted Truckin' Bob Piper, Truckin' Piper Bob, and I was like, oh, no, that first one I'm going to erase. I got to practice this more. It's got to be better because you love this woman so much. I want to do the best I can with the circumstances that I was dealing with, which was I was inhaling too much crap at work and blah, blah, whatever. You get it. So I've got 2 mates of mine. One of them will remain unnamed. That him and his wife were able to travel to the UK for 44 days. And he shared some of the experiences, and it was awesome. And then I've got a mate of mine that I work with that went for 2.5 weeks to the UK, which has me thinking I should travel to the UK. A lot of you folks that watch this channel, a lot of my mates that watch this channel that are friends of mine live in the UK. How cool would it be if I was able to save up enough money to come over to the UK, travel around, visit all of you mates, and we could do a video or 2 together, a smoke together out at the pub, whatever. I could bring my guitar. You know, I don't know if you guys do karaoke in the UK. I'm sure that you do, but how cool would that be? I would love to be able to really make that happen. It would probably cost me, if I went by myself, it'd probably cost me about £10,000. I'm guessing, you know, if I went for a couple of weeks. I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of money, but you know, it'd be worth it, man. Can you imagine the other YouTubers that watch you guys' YouTube channels? All of a sudden, it's you and Paul the Pipe Guy together smoking a pipe or whatever. I don't know how much tobacco they would allow me to bring, how many pipes they would allow me to bring. I have no clue. Never flown to the UK. Now, my brother-in-law, he's from the UK, and before COVID hit here, he actually went back and visited his family in the UK, in England. I was watching one of Truck and Piper Bob's videos. And he's like, yeah, July, summer in England. And it's a short video. If you get a chance, check out Truck and Piper Bob. Yeah, and he's like, it's raining here, it's cloudy. And I was like, it's sunny here. He's like, you know, he says, we'll start a bonfire and have a few pints or go to the local pub. My parents actually, for their 30th anniversary, all of us kids got together. Now, this is my stepfather who married my mom, who adopted all four of us kids. So my birth name used to be Miller, which is German. Now it's Gilson, which is like French Canadian. But anyways, we won't go there. So we all pitched together. They wanted to go to Ireland. This was shortly after 9/11. It was, you know, maybe a year or two after 9/11 happened, when the World Trade Center was hit and everything. So we sent them to Ireland, and my brother-in-law from the UK had the foresight to spend an extra $100, which is what, 110 pounds or whatever, not much, for insurance. So we sent them to Ireland for 2 weeks. They're having a great time. And Aer Lingus, which at that point in time was the only flight that was in and out of Ireland or whatever they had, they went on strike. And I guess in the UK, when like one transportation facility goes on, everybody goes on strike until everybody gets what they want. So my brother-in-law had bought the insurance, which covered an extra 2 weeks. So they got to stay in Ireland for a month. 2 weeks we paid for, 2 weeks the insurance paid for. And they said that the pubs are unbelievable there. My parents are not drinkers at all. And my father has since passed on. But he said, you know, he likes to have 1 or 2 Guinnesses. And he said it's not pasteurized over there. He says, and, you know, they would go to church on Sunday, and then, you know, the whole bar scene, we call them bars here. You call them pubs there. So, but when they came back, they said that in the UK, at least in Ireland, they went to church, and then the pastor's like, all right, we're all going to the pub. So they went to the pub for lunch and a few pints. And he said the beer doesn't affect you like the beer does here. My father said the alcohol content is the same, but because it's not pasteurized, your liver processes it different, your body reacts differently to it. I won't get into all that stuff, but I would love to visit the UK, to come over and see some of my mates. Yeah, I think that'd be great. Any takers on that? Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh, yeah. So, I'm very fortunate to have what I would call good friends. And I'm not going to name any of you folks, because I don't want to leave anybody out. But I feel very, 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 very blessed to actually have people that truly care, that live across the pond or down south or whatever in the United States or any of the parts of the world that I can tell truly care. And if I needed something, I know that you'd be there for me. And like I said, I can't name any names because there would be hundreds of them, and then I'd leave somebody out, and then somebody would feel bad. So I just want to thank you all. Yeah. Yeah. Cheers. So, I've got a couple of friends that I went to high school with, and some people that I've got to know. Some of these people I've known for over 40 years. So tonight, when I got home from work, well, it was only about 4:30. I see my friend Don, that I've known since I was 12, which is like almost 48 years, 47 we'll call it, sends me this little picture. It was an actual bumper sticker, okay? Now, this guy, I have friends that have sick humor, all right, that some people might not appreciate. But I've known them since they were 12, but now we're all in our late 50s, and it's like, all right, this is funny. I'm going to send it to all my buddies. So he sends me this picture of this, like, almost like a cartoon character male. It was a male piece of anatomy. Let's just put it this way. And you folks in the UK will understand what John Thomas is. Yeah, he sent me a picture of a John Thomas, which I only know it's called a John Thomas because I used to watch Monty Python. Yeah. And so he sends me this bumper sticker. It's an actual bumper sticker of a John Thomas, a male piece of anatomy. And it says on top, my owner, and then underneath says, beats me. My owner beats me. I started laughing so hard. So what do? I get on my phone and I send it to all my friends that enjoy sick humor. They're laughing their asses off. Now, I would never repost that on Facebook or anything like that, because not everyone is going to like that. And it may or may not go against YouTube standards. But, people send me stuff like that all the time. I mean, like, one time my buddy sends me a picture of a Bush can in front of some female anatomy, and it says Bush. And yeah, so there is a young lady that was, let's say, sitting cross-legged, and she had a bush. And then the picture below it said Bush Light, which was Bush Light beer, and there was a picture, let's just say, she was cross-legged, and she had a light bush, picture of a light bush. Let's just put it that way. God, I'm gonna get thrown off YouTube. Trying to go back to the old standards of when Johnny Carson used to be on, and when you had 3 networks, TV networks, and there were they would do TV live back in the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, but they had script people that would check the script. So if they wanted to get something that was kind of a little iffy across, it had to have a double meaning. Otherwise it wouldn't get through what you would now call a moderator. Maybe they called them then. The networks would be like, oh, you can't say that on TV. Now they say anything they want on TV. Mm-hmm. I remember the first time I got cable TV. I had never heard a swear word. Now you're talking to a guy that watched Little House on the Prairie, okay, the Waltons, the Hulk, the $6 Million Man, that kind of stuff, And my parents would not allow us to just sit and watch TV. There was no way. When I finally moved out of the house and got cable, I was like, they just said the F word on TV. How can you do that? I mean, this was back in like 1983. Mm-hmm. Yeah, SpongeBob SquarePants, Smarty Bob. I have not inhaled this cigar once. Mm-hmm. And by the way, it is a Bandito, which is rehydrated to 72%. And I'm storing them in mason jars, rehydrate them to 72%, put them in a mason jar, and then I don't have to worry about a hydration system. They'll stay like that for 1,000 years at the same humidity. I'm going to pause the video. And Paul the Pipe Guy will be back in a nanosecond. After this station identification. Yeah. Alrighty, I told you we'd be back in a nanosecond. So I got my, I buy stuff through Pipes and Cigars. You can if you want or don't. I'm not promoting them or anything. So I got this month's magazine of Pipes and Cigars, and it shows some Borkum Riff on the front of it. Never tried that before. It's got, I don't know, hold on, let me get my glasses on here. It's bourbon whiskey, Borkum Riff bourbon whiskey. That sounds good to me. So, I'm looking at, I wanted to get some Macanudo cigars. I like cigars that have a Maduro wrapper. I like Robustos because it's not a huge commitment. It's not like a Churchill. It's not like a 60 gauge Churchill that's 14 inches long that's going to take you 4 campfires to smoke. I like a Robusto that's 50 gauge, 5 inches long, Maduro wrapper. Yeah, I've graduated to a cigarette. And I'm looking at the prices of these cigars in here, and it's like, and I've trained myself that if I've had more than one Busch beer, I don't buy anything online, because I have had, now come on, you guys and gals have all done this. You get up the next morning, things are a little foggy, you didn't have work that day, so maybe you had a few pints, maybe 1 or 2 too many. So the prior night is kind of a little foggy, and you have a notification that you ordered something online. And, or maybe you don't get the notification and all of a sudden something shows up and it's like, so I've decided that after one Busch beer, I refuse to allow myself to buy anything online on a Friday or Saturday night. Yeah. During the week, it's a school night. I have to work the next day, so I don't, have too many pints of beer. I do. But I'm looking at the cost of these cigars, and I see this box of 250 of these Macanudo Maduro wrappers made in the Dominican Republic, aged, and it's like 25 of them is like $287, and I'm like drooling, and I'm like, no, you're going to have buyer's remorse. Do I have the money? Yes, but I'm not going to spend $287. By the time, it'd be over $300 for 25 cigars, and I'm just not going to do that. And so, I don't know, train myself to do that. Come on. Who can honestly say that they've never had enough beer where you order something that you have buyer's remorse the next day, meaning you wished you didn't order it? And if you hadn't had any beer or whatever you drank, you would not have ordered it, but you did, and then you force yourself to be like, Is it really in my budget? It's like you're constipated almost. Is it really in my budget, or should I cancel it? Or sometimes you can't cancel it. Certain Amazon things, sorry, we've already shipped it from China. It's on its way and it'll be there in 45 days. Yeah, no, that's happened. So who can say they've never done that? Anyways, we've rambled on now for, smokes 20 minutes. Yeah, that's still. I'm going to put the video on pause for a second, and I'll be right back in a nanosecond, because I got to take a leak. I have to water the lilies. Yep. I'll be back. All right, we're back in a nanosecond. Yeah, I feel much better. Yes. Yeah. That water is cold and deep. Yeah. Cheers. So I graduated. I have two of my graduates that when we graduated, we were 18 years old from the local high school here in upstate New York. And they actually, so here we are, 18. We graduate, and then everyone disperses all around the country to colleges or whatever. Well, these two idiots, and they are idiots, they're still idiots. Successful idiots. Very successful idiots. They became famous and and wealthy by accident. Actually, they just did it doing something that they love. And at around 13 years old, my mate from high school with my other mate from high school, they started to learn how to juggle. You know, started with balls. Then they graduated to like, all right, I'm going to throw a hammer in there. I won't get into it or anything. Then they graduated to like a chainsaw that's running with, you know, a circular saw that's running, all this weird stuff. And then eventually, they were on the Ellen DeGeneres show, I believe, which airs in Los Angeles, California a couple of years ago. The Nano Brothers, yeah, Nano, yeah, that's where maybe I picked up. I'll be back in a nanosecond when I got to pause it. So we graduate, and they decide that, we're going to go to the UK. We're going to backpack all across the UK. So they bring all this juggling equipment. And what they would do here in the United States, which as a citizen you can do, well, you really can't do much anymore. Now you have to have a peddler's license and blah, blah, blah. But back in 1983, you could. You could go to a park and like put a tip jar out, and they would always throw money in it because money attracts money. So they'd throw money in it first. They'd start their juggling act up, all right? And then people would sit and watch in amazement, and they'd throw money. These guys were making like hundreds of dollars per day, just screwing off, you know? They decide they want to backpack and fund their trip. You know, they paid for their tickets up front. So, and they would fund their backpacking trip all across the UK. They were going to walk with all this juggling equipment and backpacks and pass the hat around and, you know, make a few shillings or whatever the money system was then. And that's the way they would support themselves for a month during the summer after we graduated. So they get on the plane. They've got duffel bags full of juggling equipment, all right? These two morons get to the UK and they go through customs. And the customs is like, now when you go to the UK or you come here, well, no, now you can just come here. You can just come here. We have no borders anymore. But back then, if you go to another country, you had to show how long you were staying for and that you had the ability monetary-wise to support yourself so you would not be a burden on that country or that society. Well, these idiots had like $50 a piece, which is like, I don't know, 58 pounds or whatever a piece, which is not a lot. And so they go through customs in the UK. I think they stopped in England, London, to start their trip. And so customs is like, well, how long will you be staying? Oh, we're going to stay here for a month or two. We're not sure yet. Oh, and how will you be supporting yourself? Well, we have some cash on hand. And okay, well, what will you be doing? Well, we're going to backpack all across the United Kingdom. And they're like, what is all this juggling equipment? Oh, well, what we're going to do is we're going to backpack all across your country. And we're going to be juggling in parks and cities and so forth. And we're going to pass the hat for tip money to support our trip while we're here. And they're like, no. How much do you have? Well, I got $58. How much do you have? I got 65. No. They immediately put them back on a plane and deported their asses back. So you can't just go to a foreign country and say, I'm going to juggle, for tip money to support, you got to substantiate that you can support yourself. So the next year they did try it again. And they were prepared this time. These two morons are now very wealthy. And so they were prepared. They did the trip the next year and had cash on hand. And when they said, what is the juggling equipment for? They came up apparently with the right answers, because they spent 3 months in the UK actually doing what they originally wanted to do and made quite a bit of money. And had fun doing it and got to see everything. Anyways, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. We're going on, I think, let's just say 27 minutes, 9 seconds. Yeah, so I got an eye appointment tomorrow. I'm going to get some new glasses. I'm going to finally get some Ray-Ban glasses that are real cool. I'll show them to you when I get them. I'm going to spend a little money tomorrow. And get something I've wanted for a number of years. I'm going to reward myself. It's coming out of my health savings account. These prescription sunglasses. Yeah, Ray-Bans. Made in Italy now. They used to make them in Rochester, New York. Anyways, I'm Paul the Pipe Guy. Live from the outskirts of Rochester, New York, in the United States of America. Thank the Lord. And thank you all for tuning in. We may or may not have some music later. I don't know. My pinky's still healing. I got injured. I was actually playing with a 11-month-old pit bullish dog, throwing a tennis ball, and the dog got a little over exuberant about a week ago and gashed my pinky open, which does not really allow you to play guitar too well, but we'll see. Yeah. Anyways, it is 20 after 7, which means that it is 7:20, 8:20, 9:20, 11:20, 12. It's 1:20 a.m. in the UK. Have a good night, mates. And for you in the United States, have a great night. And thank you so much for supporting me and the channel that we all share. I look at this YouTube as our channel, not just my channel. You guys are the ones that make my day. Thank you, and God bless you, and have a great night. Over and out. Paul the Pipe Guy, yeah?